Yeah, so I want to give this update because I said it off, but now I'm gonna say it on. So my tummy hurting. I love sugar. Like it is my out of all the things in existence, it's probably like top four for me. Okay. I don't know if I could give you what the others are right now, but I think one of them is also water because water's chill. But sugar is definitely up there. Okay. So I had two, not a sponsor, two peanut butter cookie made with Butterfinger thingies from Casey's. Love Casey's. It's more than just a gas station, if you know what that is. And so I've had two of them. Let's look at, oh, dude, I ripped off all of like the nutrient things. I was gonna see how much
No, it's on the other
sugar.
side.
Oh, ooh, damn, 41 grams of sugar. I've had 82 grams of sugar in those two cookies. I don't know what the daily amount is, but it's definitely not that. So Um, so I'm reeling. I'm on the edge of my seat.
This is going to be a fun podcast.
Yeah, if hey, welcome back. If you see the camera go off, it's because I'm also like Nathan, I'm in the bathroom.
Okay, cool.
With your computer chair, with your
And
cat.
with
I mean,
that,
everything happens in the bathroom, apparently.
Everything happens in the bathroom. What
no, I will not
what
be sucked into
what
this.
happens in the bathroom stays in the bathroom. We don't talk about what
That's
happens in the
true, though. That's
bathroom.
true. Hey,
Oh
welcome
Jesse, I
back to
appreciate
the
that
In
you blur your
Summary UMR
background.
podcast. I
Thank
am one
you.
of your hosts, Nathan Dozier. I'm working now at Kansas
Yes.
State University,
Woo.
and with me I have.
My name is Dallas Heinz-Nees. I use he and his pronouns. NDSU hall director. I've been here for a millennia.
That is not true. I'm Jessie. She, her, Cornell College, Associate Director of Residence Life. And with us today, we have my boss, Dan Chow. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey, Dan Childs, as he said, I'm at Cornell College right now. I was at Ferris State University, Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, Northern Illinois University. I did not work at Green Bay, but I lived on Green Bay as a trailing spouse for a short time,
Yeah.
where I just did some side projects until we moved to a different school. So saw a lot of schools. I like seeing schools too. So when I was in undergrad and grad school and we did conferences, I always went on the site visits. So I feel like I've been to a lot of schools, or at least seen a lot of residence halls.
Yeah, that's
Dan, can you answer the question? Why are they called the Packers?
Over in Green Bay,
Hmm.
that is because they have a small, I guess it's small now, but probably was large back then, an industry of actually making cardboard boxes and stuff and packaging materials. Chicago, which is where I'm originally from, we have different reasons for why they're called Packers, but those are not true. In fact, their original, for what I had heard,
That's
is
funny.
because of an old boxing industry. And I could be wrong. When people knew I was from Chicago, maybe they just fed me that because, like, this is easy for a Chicago boy to understand. Maybe it's something else, but that's what I was told.
that is also what I was told, but I am also from Chicago, so maybe they lied to me too.
Could be one big lie,
And I
and they
know
keep
exactly what you're
their
talking about. Yeah.
secrets.
It's
Yeah,
so
who
fun that
knows?
it's so fun that the three of us are from the Chicagoland area. That's so sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, get
Hey, you
wrecked,
know what?
Nathan.
It's not the first time I've been left out today.
We've been talking all about summer meeting, and he wasn't there, so
Yeah, I was too busy moving.
Well, today
that's
you're not the only person in a bathroom, so that's nice.
That's true. Yeah. It is. Dang it! I wish I had a flush sound effect. It doesn't matter.
add it in post.
Add it in
I'll
post.
it'll be okay. I'll cut this part out, and it'll be like, "Hey, quiet down, man."
Smelly.
Yeah.
Uh,
So today, we're gonna be talking about networking and campus collaboration. Um, and then I'm gonna move a little bit more of the start of our topics over to Dan. I'll just start with our first question of the whole episode, which is, do you have someone who you see as like a great campus partner, and what do you see that makes them a great campus partner?
Were you directing that to anyone, or is that just can Dallas speak because Dallas think fast?
I was starting over in Dan's corner.
That's what I thought. I was just curious because I will talk, but Dan, we'd love to hear you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably top campus partner because there's always several of them, but I'm trying to think of if we had to just pick one today. I guess in recent events in memory, our campus safety or campus police have been very helpful, mostly because in our division in residence life, we do rounds, which most schools do, I'm sure, but maybe not every school. We have our RAs do the rounds for security, which means since that's such a larger part of their job, who's the other people that may show up when they run into things? Of course, campus safety. And we just, I don't know, we're trying to clean up our conduct from the year. We're transitioning to a new system as well. So I'm reading a lot of reports, which is reminding me about how often they're showing up and helping the RAs do that important component. So I feel they're a pretty important partner. They show up when we need them. And we trust in their training so that they can be a complement to often the first people on the scene, which are the RAs.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think at least for my experiences at NDSU, I'd say like campus safety, campus PD. I've liked working with them. I think we do a lot of work in like hall director training prior to the academic year starting to meet like the hall director team is meeting all of our campus partners because we have a lot of like liaisons for different departments on campus. Two being, well, one being PD. Each residence hall or group of residence halls in an area have like a specific like officer that is their like liaison. So if like things happen in that residence hall and that officer is on that night, that officer will be get dispatched to that hall because that's like it's also a way to build community, even if things are happening bad. If you see someone the same, like often it's like, oh, I know this person will be helping me in this scenario. So I think we do a lot of work there. I say that, and then because I'm terrible with remembering names, don't remember the name of my police liaison, but he's sick, dude. He's got tats like I do. We talk about it. Cool guy. And then also uh, I said there's two. The other department on our campus that I feel like NDSU does, or I view as really good partners with Res Life and myself is our we have counselor liaisons too in our counseling department. So like if we want to do like an event, we can about teaching people about like the counseling center and stuff like that. We can get them to specifically come to our residence hall. Or if we are referring our students in our community, we typically will refer them to the specific individual that is our liaison rather than just like the entirety of the counseling department. So and then we have like I said, we have meetings with them prior to the year starting of like to get to know them and build that relationship. So that's where kind of I stand.
I feel like um when I think about this question, I think of individual people, and I think that's partly because Dan and I are at a small school, so that we have several like one person departments. Um, but our student activities coordinator, who used to be in my position, um, when I think good campus partner, I think of her. She's constantly reaching out to people to see what she can do to help. She's always asking for collaboration and ideas and generating ideas for both her stuff, but everybody else's. Yeah, I have initiative with building those partnerships. Um, what I miss.
You
No, no,
froze.
no, you did. Keep going. You were
Yeah,
rocking
you're good,
it.
you're good, you're good.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I would say Nicole, when I think of how to be a campus partner, she's the person that I'm thinking about looking towards to as that model.
Yeah. Shout out Nicole.
Yeah, she's the best. Hopefully she listens to this.
We're big stands for Nicole here.
Yeah. Everyone give
Um,
a good.
I don't have any experience here yet when it comes to collaboration. That's kind of my job of reaching out to a bunch of people and seeing how we collaborate here in the future. Back at Fort Hayes, we also had a pretty close relationship with our police department.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I think I actually probably emailed at least one officer a week just either with some sort of event that we needed some parking blocked off for. Sometimes we need to follow up with a student. They would send us the citations and things like that that happened within the residence halls that we need to follow up on, or outside the residence halls too, depending on if they live on campus or if it's somewhat relevant to us. Um, I can name all of our officers that weren't new before I left. We got Kelly, top. I mean, I knew last names too, but I'm not gonna put Officer Bradshaw on blast on our podcast. We had Kelly, Todd, Officer Rupp. He was a cool dude. They're all cool dudes. And Kelly's also a cool dude, as a blanket statement. Um, we had Chief Pierce, but they were all pretty communicative with us and made sure that we were always in the loop when it came to things. And whenever they walked into our buildings with like four officers looking for a student, they made sure to let us know what was going on because every once in a while we just see a student go out in cuffs and it's like, that's wild. And then just be like, hey, anything I need to know? And they'll be like, we'll let you know once we get them in the back.
Oh gosh.
But
Okay,
they were
great.
very, very transparent. And that's kind of a relationship that I valued a lot because it
Mhm.
made my see.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sorry, all my screens went dark.
Oh no.
That's okay. Keep rolling with it.
Well, if someone can ask the next question.
Oh, I got it. Um, so I guess starting with Dan, but anyone can answer. What tips would you give to someone who is new to a team, on establishing partnering relationships with other departments and team members?
Feel like when you're new in any new land, you usually want to try to figure out, well, here's an analogy that may or may not fit depending on what school you're at. So when you go to prison and you got to find the biggest guy in the yard, right? And then so you can establish your dominance. Similar idea. So you're at a new team, you got to go find the biggest person in the yard. Could be your boss, could be another influential figure, and you ask them, what are the important partnerships here, right? Because they're the people who have been here for a while. You're not going to beat them up. You're going to get their knowledge instead. So you might be, talk to someone and like, oh, facilities really is always there for us. We had a great relationship for 15 years since I've been here. I always tell people, we want to respect them. We can ask them questions. They're always going to give us more than we ask. You're like, okay, great. That's important to know so that I don't take feelings of maybe my last institution and how I interact with facilities and copy and paste it. You don't know. Every school's going to be different with different relationships. So you don't want to walk into something like that. So yeah, you're looking for the people who seem connected. And who knows, at our school, Nicole could be one of those people for a new team member. Wow, this person reached out to me. I see her contacting other offices. And she does have a lot of experience at this institution. So she could be one of those people. Maybe your supervisor, but if you're like me, the last 3 jobs I had, my supervisor was always new in their position when I came in. So we're constantly like always learning together. Maybe not the best solution in that answer, but yeah, you're looking for the biggest, baddest person. You're going to get that information. And then I guess go with that, at least until you start figuring out your own decisions.
Yeah, I think, I really like that. Crazy analogy. I appreciate it a lot, actually. But no, I am in like a similar boat with my thought of that question of at least because the last part of it was like, oh, how do you develop like one of us said like team members, and I think that's the first way to start is like obviously develop your comfortability with the team that you are on internally. And so then when you kind of get more comfortable, just like your peers and coworkers, whether that's those who are in the same position as you or those who are just in the same department as you, and then figuring out, okay, who do um I want to say vibe with, so I'm going to. Who do I vibe with the most on
Yeah.
this team so I
Hmm.
can kind of like learn more from them, the things that you might not learn in like a training setting, let's just say. Because like especially if there's like maybe there's like I know my campus does like every so often there's like events that are put on just for like professional staff on campus that they can go to and like interact in a more like chill setting, and then you can network and build relationships in a more in a less formal setting. And so like if you're someone who's new, doesn't know about that, or wants to go to those things but doesn't feel like, ooh, I don't want to go by myself because it's a little like, how do I just like start? You could, again, see who you vibe with on your team and then be like, hey, do you go to these things? If so, can I join? If not, do you want to come with me? Kind of thing. And then I think it's really easy to build relationships with people outside of your department when you have a strong relationship with someone inside of your department, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
starting inside to then to move out.
Yep. Yeah, that's really good. I think added bonus for at least our department, I don't know if this is y'all's experience, but we have several who are alumni. And so they've been connected to these people for years and years and years as students and as professionals. Um, and so those tend to be some of my go-to people about like who should I connect with about this? Who are my resources about, whatever need I have. To not only discover how they're going to interact with me, but also how they are on a student level.
Yeah, I'm starting to find that the best way to go about this is either finding the people who are alumni or finding the people who have been there so long that
Right.
they are basically alumni.
Mm.
I think at some point, usually colleges consider someone alumni after they've worked, or maybe that's just a default flat. Once you've worked at the college, you're an alumni too. Um, but yeah, I've found a lot of comfort just finding the people who already know what they're doing
Right.
and already know resources. And it's like, oh, perfect. I'm just gonna have you help me because I'm not, if I do it myself, then I think I'm gonna reach out to like an admin assistant over in engineering. And they're gonna be like, who are you and why? Why do
What do
you
you
want
want?
me to get you connected to someone to build you a house? I don't think that's what architecture and engineering does, but who knows? Maybe they do. I'll ask someone over there. I'll reach out to an admin assistant.
Oh gosh.
Ask them, hey, can you build me a house?
Maybe don't you have an alum that can help you answer that question?
Maybe. But you know what? I'm gonna find who it is. I'll email them later.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Please report back.
Yeah, report back. I want a 10-page paper on my desk tomorrow morning.
On Saturday?
Oh my God, today's Friday.
Yeah.
We made it.
Let's
Happy
go,
Friday.
baby. No, you can wait till Monday.
So can I have until Sunday at 11:59?
Yeah, that works. Yep.
Okay, Professor Lancinese.
Bro.
Thank you. I'm gonna schedule an email to you that says I need an extension.
No, please do. That's so fun.
Preemptively.
I'll respond when I'm on my phone because I'm chronically on my phone.
And you'll say no.
I don't know. That's how I feel in the moment.
What kind of professor are you? Oh, you're that kind of professor.
Whoa. Are we getting into professor ideology? Because I wanted to be a teacher at one point. We could. Is that a question you have for me? I'll give it right now.
I think we should move on.
Ooh.
But I want to know later.
Whatever.
I do. I'll text you about it. Okay, what advice would you give someone looking to increase their partnerships after being on staff for a while? Like someone who feels like they have the lay of the land, they want to dig in more.
I think Nathan's suggestion to go to those extra things. Right, Nathan, that was your suggestion, like find people, go to
I think that was
places, or
Dallas.
was that was Dallas's suggestion? Okay.
Networking event?
50-50 chance, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. To find the folks who like, let's go to a thing together. I think about departments or divisions that have socials like that. And so that getting to know you part, that building relationships that was mentioning, that's how you do that by going to those things that are slightly unstructured so that the conversation can occur, which can't really occur when we're in a work meeting. Like it's hard to say to the person that you're both on a laptop on and be like, how was vacation? Maybe at the very beginning of a meeting, but then of course that's just a small talk and then we go into business. You go to the joint bowling night that, we're all just going to because of whatever after work. And that's going to be 45 minutes to an hour and a half where there's no agenda, right? And you're doing a physical activity that has to be filled in with conversation. That's where you can ask about the vacation, where they go more in length, and then you find two things that are interesting. You follow up, and then you both realize, oh my God, we're all from Chicago. So then when that happens, you're now building the relationship that's going to extend far beyond that meeting. So you got to attend those things, and then you have to be brave and not be a wallflower. And if you are a wallflower, you go with your friend who's not, who will drag you around so that they have the conversation. You listen, and then you hear that thing, and then you kind of peep up and be like, I'm from Chicago too. And that might help you get that, get that out there because you got to talk about yourself. You have to send out into the universe what you are looking for. And then hopefully those people will come to you But you have to be loud about it. 'Cause people aren't going to always just come to you and shake the tree and see what apples fall out.
No, I
So
love
he's
that. I
looking
love
at me.
that. Yeah, no, I was gonna make the comment of like, yeah, that's Jesse. But no, I know I really like that a lot. And I think in conjunction with that, because this is something I do, and I know it can be hard depending on the space you're in, but like trying to always be just like your authentic self, no matter where you are, I think will help be able, like, as long as you are presenting yourself in a way that you want to be seen in every space that you're in, the people that the relationship should develop with, if that makes sense, it will come if you are being authentically yourself, especially in those more informal spaces. Because then again, you'll attract those people who have similar interests or similar vibes or similar energy or whatever it may be. And then you just kind of build conversation from there. It is always a little weird, like you make a connection, like, okay, now how do I say like, oh, I want to be connected like outside of work? Like, hey, find me on LinkedIn. I don't know. I don't use LinkedIn. If you anyone who's listening to this podcast or watching, if you see me on LinkedIn, yes, I have an account. No, I don't use it. Don't interact with me on there. I'm not using it. I only have it because I helped make on the back end UMR's LinkedIn. So I had to make
Mhm.
an account. I don't use that. Yes, I have a profile picture. Sorry, I just thought I wanted to add one. I still don't use it. Don't
And
message me on
I
there.
also want to give the same caveat where I also have a LinkedIn. It doesn't have my picture on it. I also don't use it. I needed to do it for a class, and then we dropped that assignment because of something. I think my professor just had something else go on. He's like, "Ah, we're gonna drop that one," and I don't remember the password, so I can't delete it.
Oh my gosh.
Heck
I have
yeah.
a LinkedIn. I check it like once a month. So if anyone wants to find me there, I'll be there.
It won't be
I
me.
check mine
I'll reach
once a
out to you on
year.
LinkedIn.
It sends
I,
me emails, and I have a folder where it just stores them all, where it sends
yeah.
you silly little updates. And then once a year, I get on like, oh, here's these 300. Oh, I have 5 requests, a whole bunch of ads. Just go ahead and delete all those. I'll log in next month, and then I forget about it. Dales, I remember when you were talking about right the attraction. There's a pop sci theory, the law of attraction, which is not, of course, the magnet one, but in psychology. Yeah, so what was that book, The Secret from that Oprah did, like she put it on her TV show like in the 2000s or something, which was also full of pop sci and weird stuff. All similar to that, right? You got to be your authentic self. When you send it out like a magnet, I'm gonna send out my positive signal. Then all the other negative signals are gonna come by and then just attach. But if you're not sending that signal out, it doesn't work. Uh, I guess we're kind of all describing it as the same way. That's the way to do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I want to say a practical use of that I do, which is I'm going to give the example that's not Magic the Gathering because Magic the Gathering is something I can talk about for the rest of this podcast forever if we do it.
I think
Um,
the listeners know that at this point.
do they?
I think so.
You said
Okay,
it at
well,
least 6 times.
well, Magic the Gathering. So anyway,
7.
um, when I network with people and I'm talking to people who I've never talked to before, and I have like a suspicion that they might be interested, you can do the like, or are you interested in this thing? I like going the route of saying really subtle things that have to do with certain things. My favorite example is D&D. I'm not into D&D, but I know enough about it that I think I could fish someone out and sniff them out if I needed to.
You
I'm
could.
like, oh wow, that took a lot of initiative. That's interesting. You
Wow.
really put a lot of points in charisma on that one.
You're at the snack buffet at the event, and you see like those little pinwheel sandwiches at the pickle in the middle, and it's like got a real big pickle. You're like, man, look at that. That's as rare as a black lotus. And you just stare, and they're like, huh? You're like, yes, yes, yes. Magic the Gathering.
Oh, Dan and I, we're gonna play Magic on stream. We're gonna have a Magic stream side content.
Oh
I like
gosh.
it. We should live stream that.
We could. I'll send you all decks. I have more than enough.
Yeah, I'm so down.
You'll have to teach me everything, but
It's pretty easy to learn.
It really is. It gets harder every year, but it's still pretty easy right now. relative to what it'll be in a year from now, guaranteed.
Since we're on the topic, I need to ask about Magic the Gathering. Which is crazy that I have a question because I barely play. I've played maybe 3 games in my life.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about, because I know there's been cards that have been made and created that are like themed. For example, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's Walking Dead themed Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh, like collaborations or something.
Yeah, like collaborations. Yeah, like this podcast.
Sure.
So I'm I'm really
Tie
good
it
at that.
together.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just curious of what your guys' thoughts are like like Magic the Gathering bringing in other communities and themes into their space.
Feel like it depends on if you're a purist or not. Right? Because some people are going to be like, well, that doesn't fit the lore, so it's silly. And then other folks will be like, I guess it doesn't matter what the art says. Is it balanced? I'll play any card. And then you have the people who said, I came to Magic the Gathering because of the Walking Dead collab. I don't even play, I just collect. So those 3 people, I feel like more people might like it than don't. I think it's just the purists that don't like it purely because they believe that it is its own separate lore in all of these like games and like it shouldn't be mixed with others. I think they're the minority.
So Nathan,
Yeah.
thoughts?
Dallas, you asked a question that made my mind race. Uh, like I think about this every day, and that is not an exaggeration. Because I spend at least an hour on Magic every day. Um, so the short answer is I like the collaborations. I think it brings people into a game that I'm passionate about that maybe wouldn't have even come close to their purview unless it was there. Currently, the most recent one is Final Fantasy. The next one we're getting is Spider-Man. Fun fact.
Ooh.
Yeah, things are getting wild in Magic the Gathering when it comes to crossovers, and right now we're getting more crossovers than Magic lore sets, and that has some people pretty upset. This is the first year that we've been in that boat. This is also the first year that we're having the standard set be non-Magic the Gathering intellectual property. And I'm going to not get as far as I need to in this, but the short version of the whole thing is the Magic story stopped being good in 2021. Nope, it was in 2018, I think. 2019. Let's say
Okay.
2019. It was either 2018 or 2019. For those who actually play Magic, it's War of the Spark. That's when the story started being bad. Um, but since then, since the lore hasn't been that good and the story writing's been kind of bad, I don't care because I was getting frustrated with the story anyway. Um, that being said, the there was one that there was a Fortnite collaboration.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
when I got a little like, come on, man, because that was the meme that people were like, we're gonna have Fortnite fighting Batman, and now we can have Fortnite fighting Spider-Man in like 3 months. What can
I,
you do?
I so this is my ignorance.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna dive into this a little bit more. Why not? My ignorance is I didn't even know there was lore. I just thought it was a card game for fun. Didn't know there was like a story lore behind it. Like, because like I'm gonna compare, and this, and if you find this offensive, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna compare it right now in my brain of like Pokemon. Okay, Pokemon has a card game that you can play. It's not good, but you can play it. I know Pokemon. Okay, so sorry. I'm gonna move on. We're
Hot
gonna keep going.
takes.
Yeah, hot
Yeah,
takes. But
that's
Really
no,
hot
wrong.
takes on both sides.
I know Pokemon has like lore and series and TV shows and movies. I knew that. I didn't know there was a lore to the story of the Magic world, you know?
Yeah,
And
there were
so
books.
so does that mean when they do these collaborations, like these they're not written into they're just like it's just like is it reimagined old cards into new.
Sometimes.
Okay.
But typically what it is, I mean, now it used to be that we were reimagining old cards. Then we had mechanically unique cards. And now we have a mix of both, and then it's a full set. And it's really trying to reimagine the intellectual property that's being brought in as cards based on the personality of the characters or events and things like that being put into the Magic game system, which is an extremely interesting creative exercise and what people who are fans of Magic and other things have been doing for years anyway. So it's not that different for the game, except it's official.
It sounds like a nightmare to balance. Ugh.
Yeah, no, they've done a really good job. Lord of the Rings threw it just so far into not balanced. The One Ring was the most broken card for who knows how long, and it might still be.
This is advanced level networking that you are all engaging in right
That's true. Dan and I are going to talk about Magic later.
now. I'm
Sick.
impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't even think about it. I just got really excited about being able to talk about my biggest passion.
Bro, it all ties. The world is a circle, you know? It all ties together.
It
Wow.
is. Um, I guess I'll ask our last question, which is, anyone have any networking tips besides ranting about Magic and crossovers?
Networking tips.
Um,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I mean, Jess, you go. I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Volunteer for stuff.
Mm.
I did not. Okay, so socials we've established are really hard for me because I'm an introvert and I'm shy, and so I walk into a room full of strangers and I'm like, do I have to? And since I've been working with Dan, the answer is usually yes. He gives me my mandatory 30 minutes and I go and I socialize for 30 minutes. Which is really good for me and I'm grateful for. Um, but the thing that has helped me more than going to socials is being on committees. My first and second year going to the UMR conference, I didn't know anyone, showed up, kind of didn't know what I was doing, went to the socials, but mostly hung out with people from my institution. Um, and my coworker, Nicole, actually had joined a committee my second year, and so she had people to like go and be with. And I was like, all right, that's valuable. I should do that. And so I did, and here we are. Um, and every year I have gotten to know more people that I'm like much more able to not only interact with when we're all together, but I can collaborate with on different projects and I can ask for input and all of the things that you need networking for have come more because I worked together with these people on a specific project than because I showed up to any, night out on the town. So that's not true for everyone, but I think it can be a really helpful way to get to know people when you are in a work setting with them.
Yeah, no, that's sick. I like that. Um, I, maybe I don't know how if this is a hot take or my brain's just like saying it is and it's not, whatever. But I think the best way to develop the ability to network and then expand your network is to not. And I'll explain. All right, so no, okay, Nathan, I'll get there. No, I think especially I know higher ed has a lot more, obviously we're talking about a lot of departments and there's a lot more than just residence life. But I feel like at least currently with our viewer base, it's a lot of residence life folk probably viewing this. So I'm gonna use that frame, that lens, that mentality. Residence life folk, naturally, with the jobs that we have, are going to collaborate with different individuals on campus because of the success that we're trying to help our students find. We are naturally going to collaborate with other people. Okay, which means you are naturally going to network, which means you are naturally going to build your network because it's just going to happen through the work setting. Okay, to make it a positive development rather than a negative one, because you can expand your network, but then people think that you're shit, and then they're like, well, now this person is not good at what they do. So a lot of people know that, and that's expanding your network, but it's not in a good way. The way you can make that a positive is you need to start by feeling solidified in the job that you do. Make sure that you are doing a good job in the job that you have in the area that you are, you know? Because if you, especially in res life, if you are a decent to better than decent hall director, let's just use that. Then you will again, you'll know how to support your students, your staff, your peers. When a situation pops up and you're the hall director on call and there's PD involved and you know how to have those interactions and conversations, you are positively already developing your network because now that officer is like, I can trust this individual when a situation pops up and that person knows what's going on. So when I come to a scene and I see that's the hall director on call, I know we're gonna get shit done. So like if
Yeah.
you are solidified and are good at what you do, networking, depending on the job you have, again, I'm only talking out of the experiences that I have. Networking will naturally come, and then you can use the other tips we've talked about, like going to the socials, being authentically yourself, finding the big dog on campus, you know, like whatever it is. You can do those steps once you feel like, oh, I know the things that I need to do. I know how to handle situations.
Yeah.
And then I'll take the next step.
I
I
play
think
Age of Empires and StarCraft, Warcraft, real-time strategy games. Um, and a similar, I think, experience what you're talking about is the whole idea you got to have your house in order before you go out there and start pointing at other things. So if you take your little army, and go across the map in the video game, like, I'm gonna go attack the other guys. And then while you're doing that, look at us, we're knocking down the walls. And you're like, what's that sound? Oh, they're already in my base. They're taking out my king. I didn't even have my own base set up. So how can I run out there and start like, trying to figure out where everyone else is? So yeah, I think if you have, I agree with everything you said. If you're doing really well in your position, in some ways that is enough to just broadcast out, I'm
Mhm.
competent, and hopefully those judgments come in a
Mhm,
positive way.
mhm.
And maybe even people will reach out to you and you don't have to do the networking.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's
Right.
nice.
Right.
Dan
And that
there
takes
in places.
time, which is okay. Like I think I felt a little desperate and impatient with myself my first year that I didn't have those connections. Um, but your first couple years can be about establishing yourself in the position, and then again, they what you put out there is gonna come back usually. Nathan, I'm sorry, I feel like I interrupted you.
No, I just said I want to play Civ with Dan.
Oh,
I saw that the latest Civ game is now available on the Nintendo Switch 2. And the Nintendo Switch
Oh,
2 has the mouse control now. And
Yeah.
so you may actually be able to play a game like that on a console on your couch. But I'm still waiting for a really good Steam sale before I buy the latest Civ on my computer,
That's
which
actually where I'm
will
at.
come. It always comes.
mhm.
It
So
on
we
actually
just
Steam sale is going to be in like the next couple weeks. So,
excellent.
um, I would like to say, uh, my biggest tip to get networked is to join a UMR committee.
Oh, no
hey.
way, no way.
I wouldn't have met any of the people who are here today without that. At my last institution, I kept trying to push people to join committees, but just people don't have time. People are just busy. People don't know if they can fit into their schedule. But most institutions will work with you when you want to join something and get more involved in the region because they want you to give back and they also want to give back to things that support our region. So if you have the ability to, if your institution's willing to help with that, if they're willing to get your travel taken care of and things like that, join a committee. It makes it so you know all the people. I wouldn't have even been able to find the job that I'm in probably without joining a UMR committee, um, because I met all the people who I'm working with right now in committees, outside of committees, when we were doing some collaborations and things like that. So in summary, join a committee.
Well, I know this is a deviation again because now we're just nerds talking about games, but I have to ask because we brought up some strategic games. Have y'all ever heard of Crusader Kings?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
played it though. Yeah, yeah.
There's a
Uh,
lot. There's a lot of if you like being able to have control on basically anything that happens, holy cow. There is so much in that game. I stopped playing just because like I was like a little overwhelmed, just a little bit, because there's so much that you can do, and then some. You think you did everything, you didn't, and that's life. There's so much to do in life.
Wow. And networking.
And networking, there's so much I've done.
Oh my gosh. So in summary, network with people, play games.
True.
And that's
This
been the UMR in summary podcast. I hope you had a good time. I had a 9 out of 10 time because nothing's ever 10 out of 10. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell for daily notifications.
Ding.
We're gonna have more than just this podcast as content on this YouTube. We had the perspectives listen along. So if you're like, I don't want to read, that's me. I don't. I don't like reading. Guess what you can do with perspectives articles now? Listen to them.
Yes, you can.
What? That's crazy. So you should do that. You should write for perspectives. Because you don't have to be an expert. It's because it's just your perspective. Wow, what a concept. And so do all the things, and maybe you'll find your next true love.
Wow.
This is
Whether
wild.
whether it's a person or a position, who knows? But that's been the
For a
UMR
new
in
game.
summary. Exactly. Brand new game. That's been the UMR in summary podcast. I'm Dallas. That's Jesse. That's Dan. That's Nathan. I didn't point at the right people, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And that's all I got.